So jumping all the way back, when you first got started with Linux, was that first distro you used Slackware?
It was.
It
Yes.
was. And what hardware were you using at the time? Just so we'll have an idea of like what kind of things, how
Yeah.
much things have improved really.
Yeah. Okay. So that was a system that I had put together from sort of cast off parts. It had, and I got to look up the processor real quick.
Okay.
Hang on just a sec here.
All good, all good.
Yeah, the okay, so I don't know if you remember a microprocessor company called Cyrix.
Cyrix. See, I'm 28, so
Sure. Yeah. No.
yeah.
No. Yeah. So I'll explain Cyrix in a
Sure.
minute
Okay.
here,
Okay.
but yeah.
I hear you. Kind of
So in Intel processors, x86 processors were. Oh, well, I'll clarify. So I started on x86. I know that there were other architectures that were supported, but that was definitely the easiest one to get going. Slackware was only on x86. So I had an x86 system that was using a Cyrix 486 DLC microprocessor. That was, I think it was 20 or 25 megahertz. It had 4 megabytes of RAM. I had a 105 megabyte hard drive. I did not have a CD-ROM drive. And I did not have a 3.5-inch floppy drive. I only had a 5.25-inch floppy drive. Again, assembled from parts. And I had a Paradise VGA graphics adapter, which could do 16 colors at 640 by 480.
See if we can find it. VGA. Maybe I'll be able to find a picture. Probably. Surely you'll find something. Paradise Systems. What a crusty board that is.
It's yeah. So this is what we would do. We would assemble, systems from parts, and try to it was, and I was doing this because this was not my daily driver system. It was one that I wanted to see if I could get Linux on. So, I didn't have money to go and purchase a new system. This was when computers were still several $1,000s in the US, new. So you're getting parts, and businesses, especially like in high school, I was making money by, helping small businesses, like, here, upgrade Windows on our computer, or help me hook up this printer, or, and you would get a little cash here and there, and then you could go and purchase parts like from generic vendors. So it'd be usually like it was all import stuff, and it would be like in a office park building, and it would be a windowless door, and it would just say like the guy's initials, like HL Computers or something, and you would go in and it would just be all these like just brandless boxes, and it would be like, oh, you need a VGA card, there it is, it's $20, and and so it's just cheap stuff, but it did run Linux, so I used the term run loosely. It was actually faster than Windows on that computer, which you can probably not be surprised by. But yeah, so Cyrix was a x86 compatible CPU manufacturer. They were fabless. I think IBM made the processors, but
yes,
there
IBM
were a
was a
number.
foundry partner. Yes.
Yeah, so they were founded to basically try to make a low-cost x86 knockoff, and there were a number of vendors, a number of companies that were doing this, because Intel processors at that time were quite expensive, but they were reliable, they performed well, but I did not have like $400 or $500 to buy a 486,
Mm.
like a genuine 486. So, I went with the knockoff. Now, there were a lot of Linux kernel developers that had these sort of low cost CPUs. So there were plenty of workarounds in the kernel to deal with these sort of misbehaving processors.
Right, they were clones, but not perfect clones.
Not perfect clones.
Right.
They, to make it cheaper, they would say, let's just leave out some instructions. Cyrix was definitely the big thing they saved money on was just not having an FPU. So it was I mean it got me to my next computer. So but yeah, that's definitely a far cry from the kind of systems that we have these days. But yeah, that was the first system I installed on.
Even the cheapest of cheap devices just completely outclass something like that today. Just like a basic phone completely outclasses that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's and when I talk to people about, like, well, you got it installed on that, but then how long did it take to compile things? And the answer is it took a long time. You would do a lot of waiting, and in that time you would either be reading through the books you had, or doing something else, like you because you had to like let the computer finish. And we're now like, I don't know how fast my system can build the kernel now, but it's minutes, if that. And this used to be an all day affair. Oh, I gotta recompile the kernel. Okay, well, here we go. And then you would get the infamous GCC signal 11 errors, which were due to cheap hardware. It was bad memory. It was so common that there was the famous SIG 11 FAQ, which, let's see if that's still online.
There's got to be. If it's not, there'll be an archive of it, surely.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's on the Linux documentation project. I just typed in
the SIG 11 problem.
SIG 11 problem, and then there's the SIG 11 FAQ.
Yep.
So
question
SIG
11. What does that mean? Answer: Signal 11, or officially known as segmentation. Officially known as segmentation fault, means the program acts as a memory location that was not assigned. That's usually a bug in the program. So if you're writing your program, that's usually most likely cause. However, this FAQ will concentrate on the possibility beside that. Okay, so how long is this document?
Oh, it's quite long, and it's full of just anecdotal feedback from people. But no, like SIG 11 is real, and we do debug memory problems. But what would happen is you would get this error building the kernel, and you would think like, okay, well, surely someone built the kernel before releasing it. I mean, Linus wouldn't release it if it didn't work. So what am I doing wrong on my end? So people would get online and they would start asking questions, and pretty soon in those conversations, someone would say, have you read the SIG 11 FAQ? Because you probably have bad memory, or something is wrong with your hardware. And that was really common. It was just really bad components, and running GCC, building the kernel, building GCC itself, any of those really, really large programs that took a long time to compile would tax systems like I just described, and would really push them to their limits. You might not normally see that had you been running DOS or even Windows, because they are not stressing the system like you are under Linux. But, yeah, so that's sort of a thing of the past. We don't have to have the FAQ explaining that your hardware is terrible.